Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Sharing Hub. I'm Danielle,
And I'm Natalie.
and this week we're going to talk about tips for people who have chronic illness, how you can live with it and how you can balance your life, what you can do to get through day to day, just general help. We know it's not a one size fits all for everybody, but there's general things and ideas and practice you can put in place that will definitely help feel a little bit better. I'm guessing that you might have some idea living with chronic illness.
Yeah, you have to kind of not let it affect you, like not let the illness become you. You have to take control of it, but it's not always easy.
No, and it's also having to fit your life into that as well, or fit your illness around your life.
Yeah, it's the planning that's the problem because you can't plan for anything. So it's like we've just been talking about this.
Yeah.
Somebody has an event or you've got something to look forward to, and you're like, oh yeah, great. Will you be free in 2 weeks? Well, I'm free, but I don't know whether I'll be well enough. And it's that look that you get of people who don't understand, and they're like, oh, here she comes with her excuses.
See,
But it's not an excuse, it's the reality.
and that frustrates me, especially if it's around people that know you, friends and so on. They know what you're going through. They know you're waiting for major surgery. They know how your illness can impact you. So you don't want to have to cancel. You want to get on and live your life as much as anybody else. So
Yeah.
it's not out of choice you have to cancel.
Yeah, because you have that whole fear of missing out as well, like everybody's doing everything, everyone's having fun, and you see it all on social media, and then you're sat there like ill going, I wanted to go to that event.
But at the same time, people only post what they want you to see on social media. It is a highlight reel, and
That's
a lot
true.
of it isn't. Do you know what I mean? It's an hour out of somebody's day. You don't know what's going on beforehand or after.
And also, you know yourself, if you've been somewhere and had a really good time, have you really took many pictures or videos? Because I haven't.
No,
Because you're so engrossed in the moment.
correct.
So if they're doing that, then they're probably not having that much of a great time as they're portraying.
It's really true. I've fallen into this rabbit hole of watching reaction videos on YouTube, especially of Americans watching like things to do with the UK and different things, and artists from years ago that they've never heard of, like Queen and stuff. And I can't remember what they were watching a song or something, and a reaction to the crowd, and people were going, "Wow, look at that." In a time before phones, when they were there and they were present, whereas nowadays it's all done through a screen. They're so busy filming it, they're not actually just enjoying the moment and listening to it.
It's so sad. It really is.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw a concert and everyone's like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're not actually there. You're watching it through your screen. You might as well be at home and watching it on your TV.
Correct. But I think that's what it's like when you see posts on social media. That's what they're showing you on. So they're not really present, are they, for doing that, because they're too busy on the phones.
Yeah. What a world we live in, eh?
Absolutely. Anyway, as usual, we've gone off on a tangent just a bit sooner than normal.
Well, get yourself a friend that brings you coffee.
I know, I'm so can't do a podcast without caffeine.
No adverts. Other coffee retailers are available.
Just about to say that. Not an ad, not a spawn. We're learning.
But I'm loving it. Do you get it?
Yeah. Oh dear. If anyone would like to sponsor us, please don't hesitate to get in touch.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
All help is readily accepted here.
It is.
Anyway, let's get back to chronic illness.
Sorry.
Before we go off on an even bigger tangent. So we've just put together a few tips and ideas, a few pointers of things you can do, and I'll read out the tip and then we'll expand on it a little bit, and I'm sure you can say if that helps you at all, or what works for you. So the first thing is educate yourself. It always helps if you're understanding your illness and you can make informed decisions, how to move forward, I guess how to live your life.
Yeah, there is actually as well, talking about online, there's so much online presence nowadays of different help groups for different illnesses. So they have like loads of support forums. I know for something that I've got called Fowler syndrome, we have a Fowler syndrome forum that you can go on, and they've recently set up like a hotline, so somebody will always answer a question if you've got a problem. But that's not just in the Fowlers community, that's in lots of different things, and I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a bit like the mental health charities, Samaritans, and the crisis lines. You can go to somebody and there's already somebody at the end of a screen or the end of the phone that is going to help you, and I guess that massively helps, doesn't you, when you're trying to make decisions.
Yeah, and also it makes you feel that you're not alone as well, which is massive.
Yeah. The next one is build a support network. So make sure you're connecting with your friends, your family. You need emotional support just as much as, I guess, for some people, physical support if you've got a physical disability that limits what you're doing.
Yeah, you need to make sure, I think for me, you need to make sure you've got that person or people that can support you when you really need them, whether it be, sometimes it's just simple as they might ask you how you are, but then other things like picking up medication, things like that, because I know I don't like to ask. I hate asking for help. And sometimes when people say, you've done it.
Yeah.
Do you need your medication picking up? No, it's all right. It's all right. Look, do you need the medication picking up? Yeah, I do. Please, can we go?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So, but if you'd not persisted, I would have just gone, no, 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 it's fine. And then got home and gone, oh, what am I going to do?
Yeah, or you know, if you've got friends and family, people won't offer unless, on the whole, people won't offer unless they genuinely mean it.
Yeah.
I know if I offer to help someone with stuff like that, I mean it. If I
Yeah.
can't do it for any reason, then I'll say I can't do it today. Can you
Yeah.
wait till, you know, but 9 times out of 10, as well, for me anyway, if I offered to help or do something,
Yeah.
then I mean it. Or
Yeah.
you can always rely on me. Like when you weren't feeling great last week, I just said, do you need anything? You went, no. And I just, well, I'm here even if
Yeah.
you just need to moan down the phone to me.
Yeah. No, no, and I appreciate that.
It's just that
You need to make sure you like,
got
you know,
people.
there's not, you won't have, not everybody in your life will be that person, but there will be people, you know,
Yeah.
that will help.
And it's good to have.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 3 is practicing stress management. And I guess we've talked about this previously with when we've gone around the topic of mental health, but things like meditation and yoga and deep breathing, all those things that can help your mental health. I guess it has the same effect for illness as well, because I suppose that chronic illness impacts your mental health, and then you get into a vicious cycle where you need to manage that stress.
Yeah, I know for me, and I'm not alone in this, because when you speak to people who have physical illnesses, we all seem to be the same. But when your physical health isn't great, obviously it affects your mental health, but then also you'll get extra things. Like for me, it's my stomach. So my stomach, it's that whole fight or flight. So I'll start needing the toilet like 100 times. But I know that's my mental health not being able to cope with my physical health. So then I have to find strategies to help combat that. Otherwise, I'll just be sat on the toilet all day.
I'm a bit
too much information.
I'm a bit like that, but it's not sitting on the toilet for me. It's more like nausea.
Right. Well, there you go. So that's yours.
Yeah, it's still in my stomach, but it's that feeling of nausea, and it's horrific when my mental health or I'm stressed or I'm worrying. But like everybody finds something, but that's where my training kicks in.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, it's music. I have to listen to music or sing. It did used to be reading. Still not read that book, Danielle. I've read 2 pages and then got distracted. I will read the book. I actually want to read, because reading is actually a really good escape for me. But at the moment, I don't know what it is. I can't concentrate. I don't know what it is.
I think you go through. I'm an avid reader, and I always like to read before I go to bed. And I have classic FM on in the background. I've said that before. I find it really soothing. But some nights, even I just, your concentration is elsewhere, and although you read it's an escape, sometimes you just can't focus. And I think sometimes that's where it kicks in with me. I'll go onto like a streaming thing like Spotify or Audible, and I will download the audio version of it and listen to it rather than actually read it and have somebody read me the story, because then I focus a little bit more. It's just there rather than sat there with a book trying to read. But then at the same time I get frustrated, because I think to myself, I'd read it so much quicker than it takes to listen to it.
Yeah. Do you know what though? I might actually try that as a bit of a starting point. It might get me back into it, because if I really enjoy listening to it, then maybe it'll help. At the moment though, it's not even like do you know how, like in the past, if you're reading or trying to read, my mind will be thinking about other things like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. I wonder if this will happen. It's not even anything that I'm thinking about. It's almost like I'm in another planet. I'm just blank.
Just can't get brain fog.
And then I go back to the page and I'm like, oh, well, I've just read that. Because I know I've read it, but I don't know what. So I read it
might
again.
be to do with the fact you've had a hysterectomy and it's kicked you
into
menopause. It's a bit of brain fog.
I don't like it.
I'm definitely there sometimes, and I love reading, but some nights I just think it isn't happening. I can't concentrate. Just have the radio on in the background.
Yeah.
So
I might try again tonight.
No distractions.
Exactly. I might try. I'll have another go. I'll let you know how I get on.
Yeah, update you next week, please.
I'll update you.
Definitely. Okay, so moving on. Number 4 is maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So that can include making sure you've got a balanced diet, your nutrition's on point, regular gentle exercise, which I guess comes under the previous one as well. Adequate sleep is also another one.
Yeah. I think my eating went a bit terrible recently, but the last I'm making it sound like it's ages. The last 2 days. The last 2 days have been really good.
Listen,
It's a start.
correct my eating's but I've got no excuse. I've got no chronic physical illness. My eating's been shocking for the past couple. Well, it had been shocking for a while, but last week definitely. I've properly past couple of weeks I've really started to get back on it, and I've been really good. And even at the weekend, because I was at a friend's for Friday night dinner, and I had a friend round on Saturday night and we got a takeaway, and I was really good. Not that I didn't eat during the day, but I was very careful. I had like one meal during the day, but it was full of good stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't have any
goodness.
junk. I cut down the carbs because I knew the evening meal was going to be carb loaded. So I tried to balance it so I didn't go over my numbers, and I stayed relatively healthy, but knew I could treat myself.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, at the moment, mine's been like a constant treat for the last 6 months. So yeah, we don't do that. But the last few days I have been a lot better, and I feel that I'm getting on track now, which makes me feel a bit better, and it helps my stomach as
That's
well.
all you can do, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, I think when you're not eating loads of processed crap and junk, and you're eating a healthy diet, a clean diet, you feel so much better for it.
You do, definitely.
So, and that has to have an impact if you've got a chronic health condition.
Oh, it does. It does. The problem I have is I use food as a bit like a weapon. So it's either all or nothing. So it's like I either eat loads of crap and binge and eat all things that aren't good for me to make myself feel better mentally. Like I need a treat, I feel so down, I'm so poorly, oh I really need a pizza, that kind of attitude. Or, oh, I put so much weight on, I hate myself, right, that's it. I'm going to log everything I eat, only eat healthy stuff and not go above 500 calories. It's like stupid.
It's extremes, there's no middle ground.
And I've been like that from being very young, but it's horrible.
I think that's one of the reasons why John is so amazing as my personal trainer, because he's got basic nutrition qualification as well, and he's set my numbers so I count my protein, my carbs and my fats, and as long as I'm within my numbers, I can have whatever. That's not to say I can spend every day eating junk, because that wouldn't work, but I know when I'm being good on a Saturday, I want to treat myself to something, as long as I'm within my numbers and it works, I can have it and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference.
I think as well, like you've just said, if you allow yourself to have that treat, it is easier to stay on track than just depriving yourself, because when you deprive yourself forever, you just think about the things you want all the time. And then it's almost like, I need chocolate, and then you or whatever your thing is.
And then you binge it, and it becomes a really vicious cycle, doesn't it, in a way you don't want it to be. It's really difficult. And I've learned I have an extremely sweet tooth, so if I have my evening meal, and it's obviously because you have savoury stuff, I'm thinking that's really savoury, I need something sweet now to balance that out. What can I have? And in recent times it'd be, oh, I'll go for the chocolate, or I'll go for the cake or the biscuit or whatever, but I've not been buying it. Instead, sometimes I have protein yogurt, sometimes I'll have a yogurt, or I love fruit, and I haven't been eating a lot recently, so I've gone back to like, right, I'll have an apple and maybe a bit of mango, and I'll put it in a bowl and a few raisins or whatever.
Funny, because I did the exact same thing the other day. I had a bit of pineapple, a couple of grapes, and a little bit of tangerine, and just pieces. And I was like, and you feel fuller as well. I was so full.
You feel full. I mean, it's still full of sugar, but it's natural. It's natural sugars, and it's a healthier way of getting sugar into it. It's still satisfying that sweet tooth, that craving that you've got, unless you're going to eat dark chocolate, which is really bitter.
I actually like dark chocolate.
Don't mind actually dark chocolate. If I can have 80% dark chocolate, it's quite good, because I only want one square during the day. So it's a really good way of putting it in the fruit as well. And then get my chocolate fix, but I'm still being healthy.
I hate the feeling of when you've I don't know whether you do this, but I've always been like this. If I have something bad, really bad, I literally feel guilty for 24 hours. Like it's on my mind, like why the hell have you just ate that?
Oh, I do that all the time.
And I feel really like down on myself, like where's your willpower gone? Like, why have you done that? Did you even enjoy it that much? It only lasted 2 minutes.
But you do.
No.
It's instant gratification, isn't it? But you regret it. But and then it impacts physically if you've got a health condition, so it doesn't help.
No, I know.
So it's just about learning, isn't it, how to stay balanced with it all, I guess, is the point of that one. Next is set realistic goals. Break tasks into manageable steps.
I just went silent. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. Break those tasks down. Yeah. No, you have to make sure that you pace yourself. Think of the word. Sorry.
And if you've got something you need to do and it seems overwhelming, I suppose break it down.
Yeah.
Or you plan
Apart
it.
from if you me when I sit there and look at the house and go, the house needs doing, and then I just make myself do it to the point of nearly passing out.
Make yourself ill.
Yeah.
Where I was looking at it and thinking, right, well, if I do this room and this room today, or I do this today, and
Yeah.
tomorrow I can do that, and break
Yeah,
it down
I
into
know.
manageable chunks, you go again one extreme or the other.
Do you know somebody put a thing on the other day? And it was a bingo card. I don't know if it was calf. Was it calf? If it was calf, let me know. That was the dog. Sorry, it's one of those days. I think somebody did it might have been Adam. I don't know. Somebody did a bingo card of ADHD symptoms.
It was Kath.
I was like, that's me, 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 that's me. That one's not me, that one's me. Literally all of them bar one. And I was like, I've not got ADHD. Or have I?
But I'm not being funny. That bingo card with all those, it can be related to so many different things other than ADHD. I mean, if that is purely the yardstick for telling whether or not you've got ADHD, then I would say 99% of
The
people.
population have got it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a very generic.
Was I? They're all me. It's me.
There can be symptoms of mental health issues,
Yeah.
so many things,
Yeah.
not just ADHD. But yeah, I was exactly the same. I was like, I'm not going there. I've got enough
I don't
to
need
think about.
another diagnosis.
Absolutely. What's we got next? Keep a symptom diary. So track your symptoms, any triggers that you might have, treatments as well, anything that you can do to help maybe adjust your plans, but you'll know more than this than me.
Yeah, well, with the symptom diary, I'll just say it doesn't work for everybody. The reason being, when I was very, very first diagnosed with lupus, one of the things that I was asked to do was create a symptom diary, and I did it. And at the time, because I was so overwhelmed with having an illness, which at the time was not really very heard of, it wasn't the most common illness that you'd hear of. As I'd write my symptoms down, I found it very overwhelming, and I found it a constant reminder of how much I actually was ill, like how many things were affected. So for me, it made me feel worse, but not for everyone. It's good for some people, and also it's especially good if you're trying to get diagnosed.
I was just going in the early days when you're starting to feel
So
ill.
you can go, especially if you've got an appointment with a specialist, because when you get in that room, everything goes blank, or you'll focus on what's bothering you that day. So say like today, I've got a bad head. So I'll go in and go, yeah, I'm suffering with terrible headaches, but then forget about everything else. So to have that symptom diary, it is good to go, well, actually, that's a markup of what the last 2 weeks have looked like for me, to give them an idea. So yeah.
If anything triggers it as well, you can put that in as well.
Yeah.
These things, when I do this or this, that makes it worse.
Yeah. Or I did too much physical activity that day and this is what happened, or I ate these foods and this is what happened to me. Yeah, it does come into play.
Yeah.
But obviously in the right.
I think that can be said with the same of everything we're talking about today and all these points. You know, one size doesn't fit all, and not everything will work for everybody. So within each of these points, you have to find the things that work for you.
Yeah. And when we're speaking, we're only speaking from our personal experience.
Correct. Yeah.
We're not saying it's right or wrong. You know, what suits me might not suit you. Same with Danielle.
Definitely. So the next one is to stay organized. Use planners or apps to manage your medications and appointments, and you're not forgetting things, because I guess when you've got lots of appointments and lots of meds to take, you can become so easily overwhelmed.
Yeah. Or use a person. Like for me, Nick will keep my medication on track because sometimes I forget what I've took.
Do you not have like one of those boxes?
We did have, but my meds don't fit in it anymore.
Maybe get two.
I'm on 43 tablets a day at the moment.
Oh, I don't know how.
At the moment.
You know, you deserve a medal. Literally.
And I'm supposed to be on a lot more, but I don't take some of them, but we won't go there.
No, I wouldn't admit that.
It made me worse. So
I was going to say, if it's because they don't agree with you, that's fine. If it's just because you get sick and tired of taking tablets.
No, they make me feel weird.
Well, you should never take something that doesn't agree with you.
No.
So that's right, isn't it? No, I wouldn't advocate taking a tablet that impacts negatively on you.
But if you know, it is handy to have a person that can help you with that thing. But if you've not got a person, an app is amazing. Lots of people, the Dosset boxes, I use them all the time. Especially if you struggle, like for me, I struggle with the blister packets on some of them. So other people, somebody might be able to put them in the Dorset boxes for you, and then you don't have to open the blister packets. They're a nightmare, them bloody packets.
I struggle with them, and I don't have like
Bloody off. Who they designed for? Like that. You like that, and then you're like, oh, I'm not taking that. I can't get in the bloody thing.
I think what they should do is go back to having like the bottles.
Yeah.
It's but then when you finished it, you go back and refill the bottles so they're not
Wasting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
recycling.
I know.
Wouldn't that be a good idea?
It would be a good idea.
Maybe
Do you know how
we
many
need to patent that.
home plastic bottles I've got? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, going off point, discussing pharmacy and practices. Next one is communicate even openly with healthcare providers. Share all your concerns, your symptoms, anything that's bothering you. Like Nat's just said, if something's not working or you feel a medication's having a negative impact, make sure they're aware.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know it's not always like easy to speak to your doctor or get the time that you need, because sometimes they'll only focus on one thing, and if it lasts more than 10 minutes, then God help you. But that's my experience. But yeah, I did have a medication that made me suicidal, and that was the medication. And so if I'd not, I was having cognitive analytical therapy at the time via a Zoom, and it was only because she noticed a change in me that week, like a very drastic change in my personality, that she asked me what was wrong, and then I told her, and it led on to, we found out that it was actually the drug that I'd been put on that was making me have these thoughts. So it is very, very important, because if I had not been seeing her at the time, I don't know what would have happened, because I just thought I was going mad.
It's frightening, isn't it, that you can be, and there's so many medications out there for certain things that is a symptom, like suicidal thoughts, and it's frightening, isn't it, that you're going to a healthcare provider and they're giving you that they're knowingly prescribing meds that can have that effect and potentially cause people to kill themselves.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
Well, I remember when he put me on it, it was a telephone appointment. Obviously, some of my meds haven't been working, so he decided to put me on it. And all he said is this medication can cause suicidal ideation, but because of some of the other epilepsy meds you've been on, they can also cause suicidal ideation, and you've been fine. So I'm sure you'll be fine. But completely different tablet obviously had a negative effect on me.
Yeah.
And it was perampanel, if anyone's interested.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because even though it sort of made you aware that it was a possibility, when it didn't happen, you probably didn't even register that it was medication, even though it said it to you to look out, but because then you were so caught up in that thought.
I didn't even think it was only the therapist that we went over stuff, and she was like, haven't you recently changed your, and we went through it all, and it was like, oh, actually you need to speak to the epilepsy nurse, like the head nurse. And it was her who rang me like instantly after that thing and said,
come off it,
you need to come off it immediately. Then they sent the crisis team around to the house and assessed me, which was scary.
I'm sure,
because I've never been, obviously I've suffered with my mental health, but that's never happened to me before. Luckily they were like, we really do think it's the tablet. And after only 2 days of being off that tablet, I slowly started to return to normal.
Incredible, isn't it? The impact a tablet can have on medication.
I was sat there, over there, having a drink, and while somebody's talking to me, thinking about getting a shower head and putting it around my neck.
That's right.
Just out the blue, just like a lightning bolt thought, or going outside and running in front of a car. Although knowing me, I wouldn't be running, I'd just be hobbling in front of the car. They'd have time to do an emergency stop. I'd be like, come on, mate.
Why am I laughing at the thought?
Yeah, but you know I'm right. I won't be running anywhere.
How have we come to have such macabre, ridiculously dark humour that we can laugh at that age?
Well, mine's because I'm Norman's daughter. So anyone that knows my dad will know where my sick brain comes from.
I think it's just being British, because we're never having very dark, morbid humour.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we go further down that rabbit hole, focus on the things that you can control. So accept your limitations, but try and engage in all the things you enjoy at the same time. Just be aware of where your limits are, and the things that you might struggle with, while not stopping living your life.
Yeah, you can't let it control your life, because it sounds horrible, but these are the cards you've been dealt. So try and make the best of your life with what you can do. There's lots of things out there you can do. You don't have to, do nothing. There's something for everyone.
I think if you sat there and did nothing and left your illness consume you, that would lead to suicidal
It
thoughts.
would, and also I think it'd make your illness worse because you know yourself, like if you don't move, you'll stiffen up. If you've got a physical like mobility issue, anything where you're focusing on something all the time, you're going to make yourself 100 times worse.
It's true, isn't it? I mean, 2 weeks, like obviously I train, and then not last week, the week before, I'd got back into it because I've been out of it for various reasons, and I've got back into it, and then time of the month hit me early, and it just floored me, and I just didn't have the energy to train. And then, but when I could feel the difference because my body sees like started to go tight, like my slip discs, my back was aching, all those things, and I've started training again. And I just instantly feel my body feels better because I'm moving and not just sat there waiting for it to seize up. And
yeah, and it's really hard, isn't it, at the time, because you're like the last thing you might feel like doing is training. For me, if somebody said, oh right, you need to come and have a walk, if I was hurting every right, it'd be the last thing I want to do, but I know that it would do me good in the end.
yeah, and that was really hard as well because ultimately when I'm on and I'm in agony, my stomach, exercise actually helps, movement helps with period pain, but because I was so drained, I just didn't have the energy to do it, so it was a bit of a vicious circle.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, because when we were at school, do you remember if you like had a note for PE not to do it because you paid, they always go, physical exercise makes it better, and we thought they were like a witch, but really they were right. Do you remember that?
She never let you out PE. I don't think she ever let us out PE. It was more swimming. You can't swim.
You can't, well, no. I can imagine.
I don't think she actually ever let us out of PE, no matter how much you know.
I don't think. No, I don't.
But she was one of those teachers, wasn't she, who couldn't interact when you were younger with like 11-year-olds. As you got older and she could talk to you more on an adult level, she became she was a great teacher, and you could have a laugh with her. And
yeah, she wasn't great when we were really young.
By the time we're in our final year of high school, you left by that. But she was like, she let us pick what we wanted to do in class.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I don't think any of us swam in the last year. Yeah, there was a lot more freedom to let us choose what we wanted to do,
which is better, isn't it?
Because she treated us like adults. As you got older, she definitely was able to have that better relationship with the older students.
The only thing I liked at school, like PE wise, I didn't really like PE, was netball.
I hated
netball. I only like netball.
Rounders I loved.
I hated rounders.
I love rounders.
But I think I had a negative thing with it because in primary school, I dropped the ball once. Right. Mr. Sloan screamed at me.
What, for dropping the cup?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
He was like, wake up. And I think, I know it sounds stupid, but these things have an effect. They do.
No, I love rounders, and I didn't mind athletics either, like sprints.
I remember when we did like high jump and stuff. I didn't mind that.
Useless.
That.
Yeah, I love
long jump, high jump.
100, 200 meters, anything like that, I didn't mind. But no, I hate netball.
I liked it. I was goal attack. I remember.
I was wing attack. But no, I didn't like it because it was outside and it was freezing on the tennis court.
Oh yeah, it was cold.
Tennis courts that were never used for tennis.
True. Very, very true.
I don't remember anyone having a tennis lesson.
No, I don't. Oh God.
Strange. Anyway, let's find another time to reminisce about sports at school because it clearly has no impact on this.
No.
What else? Seek professional help when needed. So if it's impacting your mental health, speak to a counsellor or a therapist, see how they can help you put strategies in place to protect your mental health.
Yeah. You've got, what is it, Healthy Minds. You know, you can self-refer. Well, you have to self-refer now, I believe. So you can do that at any time because I think, if I'm right, I think you can email them, can't you?
Yeah.
I think you can leave like a note on the system and they'll get back to you. And then somebody will, you know, assess you and then put you in the right area for the counselling or therapy that you need. And
also, I suppose if you've just like you've been ill and you finally got a diagnosis and it's taken a while and you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't know how to deal with it, it's possibly a good time to speak to a therapist or get in touch with a counsellor at that, and then you can talk through what your diagnosis is and how you can deal with it and live with it going forward. They can help you manage your thought process.
Yeah, they are quite good because have you been through them ever?
No.
They're quite good I mean, it takes a long time, don't get me wrong, and I believe it's even worse now. It does take a while, but they're quite good in the sense that when they speak to you, they ask you like a range of questions. It does take about an hour, the phone call, the initial one, and they'll ask you lots and lots of things, and then they'll go away and they'll look at all your answers and decide the best therapy or, you know, what you need to move forward. So they might look and think this person will really benefit from CBT. this person really needs bereavement counselling, and they'll come back and they'll say, this is what we think, what do you think? So you don't have to agree with them. They will say, this is what we think, and then you can say, well, I've had that and I didn't find it very good, or I think
Yeah.
I need this. And they never say no. They don't go, well, no, you're not having that, So it is good.
It's a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
That's how it should be, isn't that what therapy is about? It's
Yeah.
about having a conversation and stuff.
And you've got to feel happy with the therapy that you've been offered, because otherwise it's not going to work, is it? If you go in with the thing that it's not going to work for you, then it won't.
Yeah, you have to have the right mindset and think, yeah, this could be good for me.
Yeah.
But also, I guess, have the mindset that you should try things as well, because you never know.
It was like me
Be
when
open-minded.
they offered me the cat therapy. I've never heard of it. I'd heard of CBT, never heard of CAT. So I was like, what's that? And they were like, cognitive analytical therapy. And I was like, well, what's that? They said, well, we think you'd really benefit from it. And to be honest with you, it was amazing for me.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work for everyone, but I found it really, really good. And the lady that I had was very, very good. And we got on very well, which I think helps.
I think also you have to point out, you have to be really honest and open with them, because if you don't tell them everything and you're not honest with them, they can't point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
And you're fighting a losing battle if you're not going to, when they ask you those initial questions, if you're not genuine and straight up with them about what's going on, or if you miss things out or leave things out, because then they can't make a fully informed decision or suggestion on which way to progress.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. And also when you're having your therapy, they are quite good anyway. They're not going to force you into uncomfortable, but they have a really good way of asking the right questions which make you feel able to talk. I just say give it a go. Give it a go.
Yeah.
If you need it, give it a go. You've not got anything to lose.
Especially if you have just been diagnosed and you are feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah,
and
because it's a very scary time.
Yeah, which way to talk. And also, like Natalie said earlier at the start, there's so many support groups for specific illnesses out there, whether it be a cancer diagnosis or lupus or Fowler syndrome or anything else.
Yeah.
There's, you do a bit of research, there are thousands of groups, support groups, Facebook pages out there.
Yeah. Even if you do a search, it's like obviously the surgery that I'm having is a bit complex, but the nephrectomy side of it is a common operation, the kidney removal. And there is a group for kidney removal, and I've been on it and had a bit of a nosy and asked a few questions, and the people have been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Because they've had it, so they're like, this is what to expect, and they're like, you'll have to expect a bit more because there's more to it, but this is what to expect from the kidney side of it.
Yeah.
So, there's people that have been through it. There's even nurses in there that will guide you.
And also, I think that's really good, isn't it? Because you're talking to people who've been through it themselves, not just the medical professionals. And medics are great at telling you what to expect and what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And from a scientific point of view, but the people who've been through it know how it feels.
Yeah.
And how everybody's recovery is different, because you've all got different bodies and different pain thresholds and other factors. But those people have a general understanding of what it feels like to have that particular surgery. And in some ways, I think they're the best people to connect with, aren't they? Because they know how you feel and what you're going through.
Yeah. And they'll give you advice as well on like what to expect. Obviously there'll be different. You'll get people that will say, oh, I was in very little pain after, and then you get the others that say, oh, I was in absolutely agonizing pain. But you'll get that in anything, because that's life. But like you say, it's better to speak to people that have been through it and hear how they've recovered, rather than just like make up all these scenarios in your head, which is very easy to do.
Especially when you go off what the medics have told you, because it's, it's complicated. You're not used to major medical terms or whatever. But so people who've been through it can break it down and go, well, this means this and this because of this. And you have a better understanding. And
things to ask after surgery as well, because they're not very, I've noticed when I had my appointment, they don't tell you much about what to expect after. So sorry, the dogs again, next to those dogs are. Yeah, they don't tell you what to expect after, so they give people that have been through it will give you an idea of, things to expect after, such as follow-ups and stuff.
I almost think they deliberately avoid that because they don't want to worry about the recovery.
I know.
Less said, best way forward.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Exactly. But I think, it's better to be prepared and have an idea. And I think that's pretty much all of it. Yeah. So, time to go. Yeah. If you'd like to go on.
No, I was just going to say, if you've got any questions at all, if it's anything to do with chronic illness and I can help, I'm always willing to help.
Yeah, you you definitely know far more
Yeah,
than me.
but I'd love, you know, if anybody's got any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Just message me
Or
privately.
anything you thought that, you know, might help other people that we've not said or missed as well.
Yeah.
Always good to hear.
Any suggestions of suggestives? I don't know what I just said. Any suggestions of groups online? If
Yeah.
you've been in one and you know you can say, oh, this is amazing.
Definitely.
Please pinpoint.
And if you've liked this podcast, then please like and subscribe. The more people that do, the more exposure it gets, and we can help other people. That's really important.
Yeah. And share.
Share, definitely. And comments as well, not just about groups, but about anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Give us your feedback.
Definitely. And we will see you next time.
See you next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.